Wham, bam, alakazam. But more on that later. First, my name is Floris Groenewald. You are listening to The Flow Chats, which is a podcast of casual conversational interviews I do with interesting people I know. Today is a conversation I had with Joburg-based singer-songwriter Josh Kempen. He released his debut album a while back. It's called The Morning Show. It is amazing. You should definitely listen to it if you haven't yet. Who here loves behind the scenes little facts and tidbits? Oh, all of you? How interesting, because here's a nice little fact for you. This episode is definitely the quickest produced one I've ever done. I spoke with Josh earlier this evening. Today is Wednesday the 6th of September 2017. I had this conversation with Josh tonight, then I came home. I'm putting this episode together. Hopefully it's online tomorrow morning. That's the 7th of September. What? How quick is that? A bit ridiculous for my tastes, actually, but here it is. I'm giving it a go. See how it goes. Now, if you haven't visited our blog yet, tisk www.theflow.co.za. That's where you should be visiting regularly for interesting things about movies and music and entertainment in general. You can also like our Facebook page, which is at facebook.com/theflowza. We're on Twitter and Instagram also as theflowza. Or subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's a nice little thing where I post something occasionally. It might be something nice, but you'll only know if you're subscribed. Lastly, this podcast, I've done 5 episodes before this one, so there's some interesting stuff available online. If you go into iTunes or your favorite podcast app or thing, subscribe to The Flow Chats, and new episodes in your machine or on your computer or on your phone every month or so. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? But okay, enough of me panting and advertising a show you are already listening to, probably because you're already subscribed, because subscriptions, wow, amazing. But yeah, enough of that. Here's me talking to Josh Kempen. I just got an email.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is it from me?
It is. What an interesting way to begin this conversation. But yeah, so I really wanna start with that. You just sent off an email.
I did indeed.
To your mailing list of
to my fans,
and
stacks of them.
How does that make you feel?
Just like nervous that, because obviously I did it now, so I've checked it like a million times yesterday,
as one does.
I changed it now while you were sitting in front of me waiting patiently, but I can't be sure, and there's no bringing it back anymore. There's no like delete that post. So yeah, hopefully it's good. I hope so. I like the idea of sending mails though. I wish people would post me letters actually.
Yeah.
That would be nice. But you just don't want to give away your address. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's...
Like I'm tempted though, because the pros might outweigh the cons. I don't know.
Yeah, it is that thing of you never want to give away too much like personal info or anything, but what are the actual chances that someone's going to show up at your door or something?
You might have like one weirdo, but then maybe if it was like one weirdo to like 10 letters in a month, worth it.
Yeah.
If it was like 1 for 3 letters in a month, probably worth it. But just like one, it's like no, it's probably the same guy. You know what I mean? It's probably like hand delivering the letter.
Just waiting outside your door to make sure you get it.
Yeah.
and read it and
Yeah. Did you
going
read
through
it?
your trash to check that you
Did
didn't throw
read
it away.
Yeah. Did you get the glitter? Yeah.
So, like, what is your relationship with your fans like in general? Is there can you call it a relationship if you didn't have a mailing list yet?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. No, there's definitely like a dialogue I have between like me and people that are into my music. It's generally on Instagram. Like it's really cool. Quite a lot of people send through like videos of them listening to a song, or they'll just be like really enjoying the album, something like that, and I'll always respond to them. And like on my Instagram, I think I have like at least 10 conversations going with people I know just because they like did something like that, and now we chat. So I think I have like a really good relationship.
And do you think that's important?
I don't know. Like, I definitely don't do it because it's important. Like, I definitely enjoy engaging with these people. And there's definitely, I don't know if Pete Doherty engages with his fans, you know what I mean? And he's making it. So, or like Liam Gallagher, like I don't think they do that. So I don't think it's like necessarily like something you have to do, but it's, I don't know.
But then also, like, it feels to me like it might be a sort of natural extension of the what you put out and the kind of music you make. Because in my opinion, at least, the kind of music you make is also kind of wants to engage and wants to have a dialogue with the audience, even though it's through music and maybe a little one-sided.
Yeah, no, that's true. I try to write things sometimes that'll just be like memorable at a show, or like that people would want to sing to at a show, you know? So I do think about that, engaging like all the time.
And then Instagram, you think that's your easiest?
Yeah, Instagram's the best, I think.
I also think so. Like, in my opinion, it's kind of evolved where I want to say in a natural way, where people have gravitated sort of away from Twitter, for example, and towards Instagram, which is obviously more visual and I think quicker and easier to scan through.
They're like updating it more regularly, and it's just like more careful updates, things that just make sense, you know, like the stories just make sense. And I don't know, the tagging, geotagging, the DMs, like it all just, they're like such good additions. You can just tell that people are like really being careful about that. Like I feel like Facebook feels like it's stagnating a bit, but they probably just, it's probably because they're putting all the growth into Instagram. I don't know. Twitter has not done anything recently.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed at all. But I think they might be starting to try change things up. So maybe Twitter will come back. But Instagram, I think, is just such a nice platform.
But you definitely use the sort of Instagram stories kind of thing. And I know you did a trying out different coffee shops thing on there. What was the idea behind that? How did that come about?
I don't know exactly. Like, I like to regularly have something to do on Instagram, and one of the things that I love doing also is going and trying new coffee places, and I'm pretty into coffee. So yeah, it just kind of evolved from like taking a picture of like, oh, this was such a great coffee, to like, I'm gonna call it daily grind, and I'm gonna go to a new place and I'm gonna like talk you through it. And it's really nice practice for me to, first of all, just like have my face like talking to my phone, you know, in public. Yeah. Because that's just like embarrassing, you know.
Yeah. So, I'm definitely not comfortable with that yet.
Yeah. So the first few, like, I was absolutely like, nah, gotta push through this, and like, and then you get your confidence, and then like your next interview, I don't know, I just found that like I was way more used to it. Like I was okay with having a camera in my face. So it was good on that level. And yeah, people were also like talking to me about it, like, oh, I went to that place, you should try this. So it was nice, you know. It's just like, yeah. And I haven't done one in a while because I haven't really been to a new place in a while, but I don't know. I'll go check one out soon.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't feel like the kind of thing where fans are complaining that hey, where's the next
I don't
coffee
think
thing.
so.
And also,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a natural thing of like if you start with places like or places in your neighborhood, you're gonna kind of run out of convenient places to go.
Yeah, exactly. And then you gotta like drive.
Yeah, and then
ages
it
for your
becomes a
coffee.
mission.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe there was a lifespan to it. I was definitely worried that it would be distracting from like being a musician on my Instagram, but at the same time I was also like, I mean, I'm just a person. Like
Yeah,
like,
and
this is-
there's
yeah.
only so many sort of studio photos or
Oh, God, yeah.
advertising your gigs kind of thing that you can do.
Yeah, well, I actually don't advertise my gigs on Instagram. Like, I try. Like, so Punch Bowl, because it's my thing, and I'm proud of the posters and stuff, I'll post that poster on my Instagram, but that's it. Like, I don't want to log into my Instagram and see, like, stupid events. Not that they're stupid, but, like, event posters and stuff. It's just... It's not what the platform is for.
Yeah, and it's also a kind of, I think, a dish out what you would like to see from someone.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I think some people sometimes like lose perspective of is if you have a certain browsing through Instagram experience that you really like, then try your best to add to that and to make it a similar like nice experience for others.
I mean, making music kind of the same thing. Like make the music you want to hear. You know, make the Instagram you want to see.
which also like brings me to, you were mentioning music and listening to music when I got here.
Yeah.
Do you ever sort of consciously listen to music for like inspiration or ideas or?
I think I exclusively listen to music for inspiration. I went through this weird phase, like when I started really taking this seriously. It was only like 3 years ago, you know, like I was like 3 years ago. I always took it seriously, but I never really did everything I could, like practice like crazy. And so 3 years ago, like things changed a little bit, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Was there something specific, that sort of inspired that, or?
Yeah, it sounds really cheesy, but I went to a self-help seminar. I was in like an extreme low point.
Okay.
And I was desperate. I was genuinely desperate, and that's the only reason I went to this thing, because I would never in a million years, like, it's, I don't know, before it's like something that would be cringy to me, you know. But I was desperate, and I went, and I got out of it precisely what I needed to hear, and that was that it's not too late if this is what you want to do, and the easiest way to live a life that is satisfying and purposeful, and the easiest way to be like a driven and person people want to be around is by doing stuff you love, you know. That's like the shortest route. And it's not too late to do it. It's not too late to do music. And it was like a 2-day seminar, like legitimately many hours. And at the end of it, I was like a totally new person. And I became extremely accountable for everything in my life. I was like, I'm not just gonna say I want to be a musician. I was like, how am I spending my day? Literally, how am I spending my day? I was a lawyer at the time, and I was like, okay, so I wake up at 7 o'clock, whatever it was, I eat breakfast, I go work, I have lunch at 1 o'clock, I work until like 5 or 6, and then I come home and I eat dinner and I go to bed. I'm like, what about that says that you're going to become a musician? You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, so then I started like practicing before work, practicing at lunch, practicing after work. I would get Jenny Dyson, a close friend. She'd come over like many nights a week, and we'd jam together. And then like took responsibility for how I spend my money. Like, am I spending my money on like drinking, or am I spending it on like new amp or new gear or studio gear? My thoughts, like, am I thinking about, I wish I was doing music right now, or am I thinking about like, I don't know, like practical ways of doing it? My goals, am I setting goals that are music related? And And what information am I putting in? And this is a long way around to answer your question. What information am I putting into myself? So for like 2 years, nearly, I think, the only music I listened to was maybe meditation music. The only music. And if there was something specific that I wanted to like sound like or emulate or something like that, I would like listen to that like it was work, and then that was it, you know. So I didn't listen to music for a really long time, and the only books I read were like music biographies or like self-help for like quite a while. That's still me, actually. But now recently the few artists have just like caught me off guard. Like, I don't know if you know Patrick Watson. So I got turned on to Patrick Watson, and I began with that brain of mine, that like rational brain of like thinking like it was work, like how is he making this, is this sound cool? And he just took me totally off guard, and like I just it's become one of those albums, one of those artists that I just like, it reminded me how fun it is to listen to music, you know. And it was kind of a nice like welcome home, you know. So now I'm back at that place listening to just good stuff.
Do you sometimes listen to stuff that sort of maybe inspires you in an unconventional way? For example, I think it's really if someone listens to you say something like listening to music for sort of inspiration or for work reasons in terms of producing your own music or writing your own stuff, you would assume that you would listen to things that have a similar kind of sound to what you produce. Yeah,
well, actually, it's almost the opposite for me, because I think it's important that I think a good song needs to have, I don't know what the word is, but it needs to have like an edge. So like, I don't think and it's basically about playing with people's stereotypes. So if I'm writing so Pistol, if I'm writing a song like that, like a singer-songwriter, catchy chorus, I like to incorporate, if that's what the music is going to sound like, if it's going to sound like a radio format song, I want lyrics that are not necessarily radio format, and lyrics that are interesting, and I try find references. I don't know, like for me those lyrics are more like there's more like hip-hop references in lyrically, you know what I mean? And that's what I try to do. So if I'm writing, like if I've got a song that's, I do this less now, but if I've got a song that's like very ballady, I'll try find words that are as unballady as I can think of, you know what I mean? And then I'll listen to things like, I'll listen to rap or whatever it is to get inspiration, what words are like cool, because that's satisfying as hell, for me at least. Like, it's like the person who does it perfectly and is easiest to understand is Amy Winehouse, where she's got this like, it's like a sound from like what, the 50s, and then her words are like, oh my god, like the most modern, edgy. It's like just perfect. It's like a double-edged sword, you know.
Yeah, and it also feels to me like something like her music feels like, in terms of instrumentation and the sound of it, kind of classic, but her lyrics have sort of drama that you wouldn't have had in music at that time.
And I think if she sang, even as gorgeous as the music is, if she sang like Fly Me to the Moon words, it would have been very bland. It would have been like, okay, we heard this 40, 50 years ago, you know?
Yeah, which is a definite, her music, for example, it reminds you of the old time, but it's not copying. It's doing something fresh with some familiar ingredients. I feel like.
Yeah, it's such a nice technique.
But okay, so you were a lawyer.
Yeah.
How did you end up there? Were you into music and things as a kid before that?
Yeah. No, I've always, when I was a very little boy, I wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
And I wanted to be an actor probably through till I was like 15. And then when I was 15, someone taught me a few chords. And I used to write a lot of poetry. And they taught me like 3 or 4 chords. And I just wrote a song like the next day. Like it was like I was like a dolphin, and I was like cast back into the ocean. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It was like, okay, this is what I do, and I just wrote songs like all the time. I loved it. I like.
So do you think the from writing poetry to writing music was a natural, easy transition?
Yeah, I think so. But it was just so much more satisfying than poetry for me.
Yeah.
So much more. And it was so much more satisfying than acting for me, because like I was definitely like a bit of a enjoyed being the center of attention, enjoyed showing off. You know what I mean? I enjoyed that stuff, and like I loved acting, and I loved doing drama and stuff. But like doing a monologue at home to practice your craft like didn't really do it for me. But then all of a sudden you got a guitar and you can like play the whole song and like imagine the audience there, you know, and then that was very satisfying. So I did that all the time. Funnily enough, before I picked up the guitar, every afternoon after I got back from school in primary school, I would like put on a CD, and I had a mic, and I had floor to ceiling mirrors at my house in Australia.
Yeah.
I'd shut my door, like God help me if someone walked in while I was doing this.
Yeah.
And I'd like sing the entire album, you know, like perform it in front of the mirror. Yeah, and sometimes I think that's what I do now. Like I just write a song so that I can stand up and perform it. You know what I mean? Like that hasn't changed much.
So you grew up in Australia, but I think you were born here.
Yeah. I was born here, and when I was 8, I moved to Australia, and I did grade 2 here, but I did all my other schooling in Australia.
Okay. And then after that?
So I finished school pretty young. I turned 17, and in the same month I finished school.
Okay.
And me and my best friend went on a gap year. We were Australians. I'd been working for like a year to save up for it. And we went to the UK, did London, and stayed in Scotland for a while. And I couldn't get a job, man. Like, I tried so hard to get a job in England, in Scotland, wasn't happening. I was running out of money. And my auntie sent me, I think $1,000. I think it was $1,000. It's like a lot of money, actually, now that I think about it, for my birthday. And I think also because she was like, he's on his gap year, like, enjoy yourself, man. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm rich. And then me and Robbie, my best friend, were like, let's go to Croatia for like a final shebang, and then we'll come home. I told my parents I'm coming back. We went to Croatia for 10 days. We booked one of those like all-inclusive things. And Croatia was beautiful. But then we noticed you could get a ferry ride to Venice from Croatia. Okay. 2 hours, 2-hour ferry ride. So we were like, cool. It was a day trip. So we took the ferry across. And we got to Venice, and I saw a map, and I saw a little bit inland of Venice, quite a bit inland, now that I think about it, was Menaggio. And I said to my friend, I was like, dude, I went to Menaggio when I was really little, and it was beautiful. Oh. And you know, we finished school, we're free, we got no parents, so he was like, let's just go, you know? And we just had our passports. It was a day trip, you know? So we had like pair of shorts, a t-shirt, passport. And he was like, let's just do it. So we went to the train station, and we like tried to figure out how to ask people. Anyway, long story short, the train broke down. It took us 24 hours to get to, and by the way, we got a return ferry ride to Croatia, and all that shit's in Croatia. And 24 hours later, we arrive in Menaggio, and we check into an expensive-ass hotel because we arrived so late. And we went to a hostel the next day. We were having a nap in the afternoon, and this was only like, must have been like, I don't know, 7 days after my aunt sent me that cash. And I went to draw money, and it said I was out of money. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I somehow managed to blow like 1,000 Aussie dollars in like 7 days, and I was totally skint. Like, I had no money, didn't know what I was gonna do. And my friend was sleeping in the hostel. It was the afternoon, and I literally like, I don't know, I was like compelled by the universe. I walked to the ferry stop, and I looked in a dictionary, like, how do you ask for work in Italian? And I walked to the ferry stop. I was like, "Do you guys have work for me?" They laughed at me, obviously. Like, I'm like the 17-year-old, like, don't speak a word every time. Like, what am I gonna do at the ferries? And then I walked on to another coffee shop. I was like, "Do you have work for me?" And this girl was really sweet, and she's like, and she could speak some English. And she was like,
Okay.
"I don't, but come with me." And she took me to the restaurant next door, and spoke to them in Italian. I was like, "What's going on?" And they said to me, "Follow me." And we went to the restaurant next door to that. And there was this woman sitting in a restaurant. It's afternoons, everything's closed, smoking. And they have this dialogue in Italian. I don't understand any of it. I do understand the number 6. And they were like, okay. There was like lots of okays. And she was like, alla sei. And then like, I was like, okay. So it's at 6. And I was like, do I have a job? But whatever, I'm going to come back at 6 o'clock. Went back to the hostel. I was like, I think I might have a job here. And then I went back, and sure enough, put like an apron on me, and I was washing dishes in Managio, tiny town. And that's where all those people that I just mentioned are now still my friends. This was 10 years ago.
Okay.
And they're like family to me. And yeah, like I worked for 3 days, and then we were like, holy shit, like we need to go back to Croatia and get our stuff, you know, like and we don't even know how to get back to Croatia. So we went, and we managed to get back on the same ferry return because our tickets were still there.
Okay.
And they never presumed that we would be like 3 days late for the ferry.
Yeah.
So we got
Because who does that?
Yes. We went and got our stuff from Croatia, and then I basically moved to Italy and didn't go. I told my mom, I was like, sorry, I got a job, and I stayed there, and I learned the language, and yeah, it was good time. Sorry, that was a long. Put a microphone in front of me.
No, but it's a fascinating story. I mean,
yeah, it was a good time.
Not everyone has one of those to tell.
Yeah, no, that was.
See, and
especially
especially
that's when I realized I was going to do music full time.
Okay.
I think, was that what you asked me? Might have been.
I think I originally started with how did you end up doing the lawyer thing. So we're not there yet.
So we're not even there yet. Okay. Yeah.
But so how does the Italy link to the music then?
So I at that point, so like I said, I got my first guitar when I was 16. And I was really into it. I really enjoyed it, you know. I love Jack Johnson and John Mayer, and then I'd written a few songs, and then I made it into a demo, and the demo was playing one night. The Italians loved it. So at the restaurant I was working, they played my demo all the time. They still play my CD now in the restaurant. It's beautiful. They played that demo, and I remember I was serving this table, and they were Americans, and they were like, "What's this playing?" And I said, "Oh, it's actually me. Like, it's my music." And they were like, "No ways." And this dude was like, worked for MTV in Los Angeles, you know? And he was like, "Listen, why don't you come play me some songs tonight on the lake?" And I played him some songs. And then he was like, "Yeah, I want to take you to Los Angeles." And that's when I had the first, like, okay, this is quite a big step now. Like, do I actually want to do this? And I was like, categorically, I was like, yes, I want to do this. I had to save for it and get a visa and shit. And basically I wasn't able to go, which sucks. But it's probably a good thing now that I think about it. And then I came back to South Africa. It was a round the world trip, and I was enrolled in university in Australia, and my parents had moved here. Like, during that period, sort of temporarily. All my shit was still in my house in Australia. It still is, and I haven't seen it in 10 years yet. And they were like, "Yeah, you can go back to Oz, but we're gonna be here, or you can be here." And I've got a wonderful big family here, and they were like, "You can study here. Like, we'll get you a car even." And I was like, "Wow, like that sounded really good." And so, it was like November, and I got into university to do law for the next year, and I just started. Like, yeah, weird time. I'm still making sense of it. And yeah, I studied for 5 years and did my articles, and yeah, I got admitted beginning of last year. Got admitted as an attorney, but I quit immediately.
So your parents, are they originally from South Africa?
Yeah. So My dad's quite a few generations in this country, and my mum is, I think she's actually first generation. Her parents are Italian.
Okay. I'm also thinking it's probably not a very, very popular story. That's the wrong word. Doesn't happen very often. I'm sure that you're finally ready to become a lawyer and you go, nah,
Yeah.
I'll pass, thanks.
Yeah. This is one of those things I talk about. This is why it's so important to take responsibility for like what you're doing. Like, I read actually last night, people will hide from pain with like time zones. So like, if you're concerned about something now, you'll sooner think about the future or the past. Or if the past is hurting you, you'll distract yourself with the present or whatever. And like, that's one of those situations of like, you're saying you want to do something, and what are you doing? You know what I mean? And you distract yourself a little bit. But you know what? Like, I feel like now I'm a much better musician. As much as those people saw promise in me then, like that was promise. I feel like now I'm making good music, and I feel like I just know a lot more, and I still feel really, really young. You know what I mean? I still am young. I feel very fortunate like that. And everything just feels like it's unfolding now. So as much as it's hard for me to make peace with those decisions, like I can definitely see that it's important that I'm the person I am now. You know? Like, what did I have to say when I was 17? Nothing really. My heart was broken, so I had that to say, but like that was it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that only unfortunately gets you that far.
Yeah. Unless you're Cat Stevens and you wrote First Cut is the Deepest.
Yeah.
If I
was just thinking of Taylor Swift. It feels like she needs some new material now.
I haven't listened to these last releases, but I don't have a bad thing to say about pop musicians.
Yes. Yeah. No. Like me too. Is a lot of like respect for it and even.
It's because you play as well though. Like you can't. It's hard to judge someone doing the very thing you're doing and kicking ass. Like how can you what kind of douchebag is like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, but there's also I mean, for example, with writing my own music is even though you go, what I'm doing is completely different to pop. There's a lot of pop in what I do.
Yeah, and pop's, I don't know, well, like each their own, but pop's nice.
Yeah,
I'm really into pop.
No, but yeah, so like the Taylor Swift new song is it. I find it interesting that it's kind of divisive.
Yeah.
In terms of. Is it even a good song, or is it a terrible song, or is it the future? Is this where pop music is going, or is she clinging to the past and this writing about her personal experiences from the past too much, or I'm just fascinated by the dialogue that's going on around the song.
Well, I'll tell you the cool thing about being like a successful musician and like if you're known to be a great musician, or if you have fans, the best thing about that is like if you're Taylor Swift or if you're Drake, like people will make themselves like your song. They'll make themselves get his song. You know, they'll listen to it. And if you don't get it, they're not gonna be like, that was shit. They're gonna be like, what am I missing? Like what? And you keep, and eventually you'll be like, I get it, and then you love it. You know, so like. Doesn't matter. Like,
that feels to me like a almost a resonance thing, which is a concept I'm also like fascinated by. Is the idea that sort of you pluck a certain string on the guitar and the air vibrates, but if the air vibrates from a speaker, for example, on that same frequency, then the string starts to vibrate. Is that kind of thing of if there's a resonant frequency in the air, it can either activate something in you or you change a bit to fit it or stuff like that. And
it's good analogy.
And I mean it's also, I think, in that kind of example, a cultural thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that, what's it called? The 99 Monkey where they learn to swim. So I think it was on an island, and they were surrounded by water. One monkey started swimming, and there was like a population, I don't know how many, thousands of monkeys. One monkey started swimming. They were all like a little bit like reserved, like, can we get wet? Rarely though. And so like these outliers would do it a little bit, and then like some would join in, but they figured out that if a certain percentage of these monkeys, well, this happened on the scale, as soon as a certain threshold was crossed, where this amount of monkeys, it was like 99 monkeys, were swimming, even monkeys on nearby islands who didn't see these monkeys began to swim as well. They figured it out. And like when you think about fashion, it's like the same thing. Like you can have these, like, I'm wearing a headband, okay? So you can have like me wearing a headband, you could have like some other dude wearing a headband, but like it doesn't catch on. But as soon as it reaches this like critical mass, you'll have someone in Finland who's like never seen anyone wearing a headband. Bad example, but you know what I mean? Fashion is like, that's where it happens. And then they do it, you know? It like passes this threshold. And I think those big stars, that's what they do. They like cross that threshold. So it's like, it's, even if I listen to, I don't know, I feel like it might have happened with psych rock, you know? Like enough people got into it that like, that's what you wanted to hear, even halfway across the world. That sounded new and modern, you know?
Yeah, no, and it's, I mean, that also makes me think that even if you, for example, like hate pop music, but you're in any sense interested in music, or you like, whether you make it or you just like consume it or whatever, is I feel like it's important to look at what the masses are doing, what the big stars are doing. And you know, what is happening in pop music, I kind of feel like affects everyone in some way. It's
so true. It like, ideally with pop music, you want to try get to the source, like try not to follow like what has filtered through, but like recognize what's filtered through and like see where it comes from, like who were the writers, what were the influences, and then you can really create something that's like on that level, but not like too derivative. I don't know.
But it is. You don't wanna.
I think it's so important not to overthink things. Like, I think it's so important. I rarely try reduce my like my intellectual thought when it comes to songwriting. I really try hard to do that, because so often your mind is wrong. It's just your mind is so scared and doubtful, and it's like, I can't sing a song like that. This sounds like the radio, whatever. Like whatever your doubts are, it's just like hampering your creativity. And it's like it's good to get in the habit of just like, I don't care. Like this moves me. I like this. It moved me once. It'll move me again. I'm gonna play this song. You know what I mean? And let's like let's make sense of it afterwards.
So do you think then your songwriting process might be more sort of gut based?
It was completely gut based, dude. All my songs are written in, at least like the core of them, they're all written in like between 2 and 20 minutes, maximum 20 minutes. Like, if it's not, if I'm thinking too much about it, I just don't want to hear it. So, there's always exceptions. Like sometimes you just love like a hook, but like the lyrics just don't make any sense, and that takes time. But it's more often than not, I'll pick up a guitar and just like play a chord and sing something, and it's there. I'm like, yes, and then you just flow with it, and then you put the verse in, and then it's done. And then maybe you'll think about putting a bridge in or not, or it just gets recorded. Like Howling at the Moon, it's like, I always tell this story. I literally, like, I was about to go to bed, and I played those chords maybe twice, and I went to sleep, and I had them like going in my head, and I literally wrote like all the lyrics in my head, woke up, wrote them down. I was like half asleep,
Mm-hmm.
I was like dreaming of the song, you know, wrote down the chords so I didn't forget. And I woke up the next morning and I played it like off the sheet, and that's exactly how it sounds like in the recording. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that, I love that.
And I mean, I've also like heard enough stories like that,
Yeah.
and spoken to people and who've had that experience, that it's like there's obviously something to that. There's obviously something to not overthinking it, not coming in with like too much of a plan, and just making something pure and
Yeah, totally. I listen to tons of songwriter interviews, like podcasts and stuff, and so many of them, like, that's how it's there's all like it's something that's like transcendent, you know. It's not, like, obviously you don't know where it comes from, but it's like pure original creative thought that just starts it. And sometimes it's just like you must have heard the expression, like, a great song title will write itself. It's kind of a similar thing, like you have a title that punches you in the guts and you just know what it means, you know what you need to say, and it just goes poof.
Yeah.
I've never done that. I'm hoping to do that. After I heard that, I was like, I need to think about titles.
Yeah. No, but it's like, I think on a similar note, I feel like what sometimes bums me out about my creativity, and especially when it comes to songwriting, is I can't write like to assignment. If you tell me write a song about,
That is difficult.
like, I have no idea how to do that. Where sometimes I can write a fine song, but then it's also it's an unplanned thing. It's not a thought out.
Yeah, I also struggle a bit with assignment things, and sometimes I write songs for like local movies or TV, and that's like very specific. They'll give you a reference, but lately for some reason I've been loving that. Like, but I need to do it. I did it with Noah, my keyboardist, and he produces, because like that world is not so easy, and it's really nice to bounce off people. But like, that's quite nice to do it. Like, okay, make something that sounds like that. It's a good exercise, because it just removes the ego.
Yeah.
That mind is just not present when you're doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another cool thing I did was I wrote a song every day for a month.
Oh yeah.
So that was an assignment too.
Yeah.
Also, like, one of the first things it did was just took away that criticism. I've got them all as voice notes on my phone, and genuinely, like, sometimes I would be so like tired, like, oh my god, I don't want to write a song. That might be the song, like, how like, please can a song come, you know? But like, often you just play your first idea, whatever idea, and you just finish it. Just finish it. Put a chorus on it, finish it. And the whole time you'll be like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. That was so stupid. Annoyed at yourself, pissed off that you like spent 2 minutes doing that. Leave, but you're like, I got a song, like, kind of relieved. And then I'd like listen to it the next day and be like, I love this. You know what I mean? Because it's like something that your mind would have stopped you. So it's like that growth that wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Yeah. No, I definitely, in a lot of things, I feel like the sleeping on it and coming back to it the next day is so important, because either you're going to go, no, this is terrible, and the next day you go like, no, it's great. Or the opposite, where it takes some freshness to spot the flaws, to go, no, that's really not working.
Yeah. Stepping out of the studio is important. Or stepping away from your cell phone to recording on that device.
So, speaking of the studio, your album recording, that was at High Seas? How was that experience? How'd that go?
It was beautiful.
And you came with, these are the 10 or 12 songs completely written.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah, I came with 12 songs. We ended up doing 13.
Okay.
Supernatural, the last song, I was just jamming in the studio, and they were like, that's cool. And yeah, we recorded those, did I say 15? 14. I think it was 14 or 15 tracks. Anyway, we recorded them in 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, because we decided to the day before we recorded, we were renting gear, and I said to them, maybe we should do it live, do a few songs live, my rock and roll ones. And they were like, that's a great idea. So they set up the room live, and we recorded it, and it sounded amazing. And so we kept recording. We recorded all the songs, and then I overlaid vocals on some of them. And when I say live, it was me and Saul, the drummer, and then Noah came on, played some keys. The producers, Dave and Jacques, did some bass and other instruments, and then it was like done. It was so quick.
Okay.
And it was just a great time of my life. I still think of it very fondly. Just so fast, so creative, like everyone in such a good headspace. Yeah.
But nice. Then so it was you and Saul, the drummer, that did the live thing. And then were you playing with him before? Had you been doing band shows?
Yeah, no, we'd been playing. Saul joined me at my first oppie, this will be my third oppie, so 2 years ago. 3 years ago now. Yeah, we've been together quite a while. And Noah as well. They both started then.
Which is just you borrowed them from Go Barefoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and now also Johnny, their bass player, is playing for me. So
okay.
I'm very close to Go Barefoot right now. But yeah.
Which is convenient.
It is. And we get along really well. And I think it's nice for them as well to have like just two projects. Like it's a really nice learning curve, and like they more invested in like songwriting with Go Barefoot, and with me they're more invested in like performance and that sort of thing.
But I mean, as far as I know, both of them are sort of full-time musician kind of, which I also think is then important to like diversify and try different things with different people.
And I don't think they'll stop. Like they're playing with me. Saul played with Luma. He's gonna work on a few projects. Noah and Saul are doing like a project by themselves now where they can like produce. So they definitely gonna be important people in our scene and beyond for sure. And they're really great musicians.
Yeah. No, like what I've seen from them is they really know their stuff, and they're talented and busy. Yeah. Which I feel like is the most important part. Is if you're good at what you do and you do it a lot, you're on a good.
It's a nice combination.
Track.
Yeah, it's a nice combination.
Josh Kempen on the Flow Chats. That's where you heard him. You should probably go follow him on Instagram at the very least, because that's where it's at these days. He's on all the online things as Josh Kempen, so you can easily find him. Go follow him, listen to his music, buy his music if you haven't yet, and yeah, be on the lookout for his shows. It's also an amazing live act. I know everyone's real sad now to stop listening to this podcast, but once again, if you haven't listened to all the other episodes yet, go back now, go subscribe, go check iTunes, and listen to all the back episodes. While you're there, it would be amazing if you left a rating and a review there. It would not only make me feel special, but also help more people to find the show. While you're at it, maybe just tell a friend. If you like listening to the show, it would really make my heart feel very, very good. If you tell your friends, maybe share a link on social media or something. Just tell more friends that this show exists. And stay tuned, stay subscribed. There should be another episode coming in about 4 weeks. Yes! I'll see you then.